This is called a yagrumbo, or it's also known as a cecropia. So these are delicious. These are a type of fruit that is native to the rainforest and South America. Feel free to try it. It kind of tastes like a gummy worm mixed with a fig Newton.
It's kind of like jelly. Like I expected it to be more tough.
Yeah.
But so I just eat this thing?
Yeah, here, I'll.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it's pretty delicious.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
And it's called a
yagrumbo.
Yagrumbo. And where would one find this native?
In the Amazon.
Wow.
Yeah, in the Amazon you might find these. This type of tree actually improves the soil around it.
And that's what it looks like on the inside.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Lots of little seeds like a fig.
It makes like 1 million seeds in each fruit.
Mm-hmm.
So very prolific.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
And so in its native habitat, this is delicious.
That's really good.
Yeah.
It's very juicy.
Yeah, in its native habitat, it would prep the soil for other trees to come afterwards that are of more value. Okay. So like cacao farmers, chocolate farmers will use it as the start tree to fix an area that's been maybe slashed and burned or maybe doesn't have great soil.
So is it like a nitrogen fixer or is it like...
does. It does fix nitrogen. It's distantly related to stinging nettle. Which, as you know, is a nitrogen fixing plant. People use it for teas to feed plants all the time.
Now, you can see here too, it looks like it's kind of creating some dead matter here. Is that another reason they use to fix it? Because it drops a lot of its leaves?
Yeah. All these big leaves really produce a whole lot of organic material.
Awesome.
And really just fertilize the soil underneath. And the roots themselves fix nitrogen. They really just break up heavy clay soils. They can break through rock. So in places like the Amazon, where the soil is not extremely deep and maybe even sometimes poor in a lot of the rainforest areas.
Which I've heard, which is
You think of it as you think of a rainforest as being somewhere where the soil is inherently good, but usually it's not. It's usually been fixed by plants to look so lush, and it's just plants like this will be the starter plant that kind of helps the other things expand out and make a rainforest.
Well, and my understanding too is that the nutrients that go into the soil in a rainforest are just kind of used up so quickly that the trees really become the nutrients. It's not necessarily in the soil or the plants in general.
Yes, and the detritus that falls from them really becomes the soil. Yeah.
So let's take a little walk around here and kind of show us what we've got going on.
Definitely.
There's so much just life in here. It's just crazy.
So this is a sugar apple tree from seed. This one got knocked down to the ground from a freeze this year, but this is actually a pretty old tree. Underneath it, there's a ground cover of medicinal plants. This is Gotu kola, and Gotu kola is actually a nervine tonic. So this can be used to actually improve your mental function, your nerves in general if you have nerve issues. And it's been used in studies to improve the condition of brain damaged children effectively. So it's a very special plant. It also has an added benefit of wherever its roots lay, it purifies water and it purifies the soil. And it can go aquatic. So people will actually use this near riverbeds that are polluted and contaminated. And what they'll do is they will let it sprawl out into the water, and it will purify that water and take out all of the impurities.
So is it a bioaccumulator?
It is. It is. So if you use it,
what does that mean?
It means it takes in a lot of whatever's around it, basically. If you use it for remediation, not good to eat.
Gotcha.
And it's not great as the tonic because it's already used a lot of its energy fixing the water.
It's sucked up the bad,
and
so the good isn't really there as much.
Correct. But in a situation like this, you could use this for tinctures. You could use it as a general nervine tonic. So
very cool.
Yeah, and then also we've got comfrey which
is a huge permaculture,
huge
an
permaculture
amazing
staple.
permaculture plant.
Yeah, this is the blocking 14 cultivar, which is just, known for just creating tons of biomass. I'm sure
Awesome.
you might be familiar.
Yeah, like a chop and drop kind of thing.
Totally.
Okay,
Totally.
and then also comfrey you can use as like a wrap.
Like a salve, yeah.
Yeah, so like there's comfrey is a super useful plant.
Definitely.
I'm from Phoenix. It's a little bit more difficult to kind of take care of there.
It is.
But there are some friends that I have that are growers that are doing something very they're actually have been successful with it. Well,
yeah, it's a fantastic plant, and one interesting thing about it is actually that it has properties in it that are really similar to like stem cells.
Okay.
So that's why you can use it to treat wounds.
Wow.
Yeah, because it'll actually just
fill in the blanks.
fill in the holes.
Right, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So
Well, very cool. Well, let's keep on going here.
yeah, so here's a nice dragon fruit display. This is actually one of the mothers that produced a bunch of the cuttings that you actually have in your garden now.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Is this a golden?
Yeah, this is the golden,
Okay.
and this is a Vietnamese white. And and these guys usually produce September.
Wow, and you got some growing up from the middle here too. some
Yes,
babies.
yeah, they throw cuts everywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very prolific. Dragon fruit are incredible. We love them.
Awesome.
Yeah. We've got bananas of many different types. So this is a blue Java, nice cold hardy type.
Right
Makes
on.
blue bananas.
Yep.
Very delicious.
Also known as the ice cream banana, correct?
ice cream banana. Yep.
And those are something that we actually grow in Phoenix too,
Yeah.
without a greenhouse. And
Yeah.
you just kind of what we do is
Yeah.
we put them like maybe in a corner next to a house or next to a swimming pool.
South-facing part of a house, they work great.
Like
yeah.
we just want to keep it warm through the winter.
Exactly.
And even at about 32 degrees, they're not going to die back. They might look a little
Totally.
funky, but it's, bananas are actually considered a monocot in a grass, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
And so they're pretty simple plants, honestly.
Yeah.
But look at the beauty of this here.
Yeah, they're incredible plants. And that right there next to it is actually a Goldfinger type, which is another great hybrid that's really tasty in general.
Awesome. Very cool.
Cold hardy as well.
Looks like a papaya here.
Got a papaya going right here.
I
Got
love
some
these
fruiting
trellis.
ones further on. Yeah. Got this is a large avocado tree. This is a
Beautiful.
Candelaria avocado, and yeah, this is a rare type from Puerto Rico.
Okay.
They make very large fruit. when
Now, have you
compared
got
to-
fruit off this before?
Not this one. We've had it try to fruit, but I've actually pinched them back for a couple of years to let it focus on really growing some nice trunk.
And with my experience, that's the way to do it with
Yeah.
most fruit trees because you can it's almost like you can either grow the fruit or grow the tree.
Sure.
The tree is going to put a lot of its energy.
So much of it,
Into making that
it's
fruit.
pregnant.
Exactly,
it's
right.
pregnant.
So
And it has to eat a lot more, and even if you feed it more, it's not going to put very much energy into growing new leaves and strengthening its trunk when it's dumping all of that into fruit. So
amazing. Okay, cool. Well, let's keep it going here. There's got to be 300 different varieties.
oh yeah,
just
there's so
like-
much stuff. We've got
right here.
tamarind here. This is another nitrogen fixing plant. This one's in a pot right now.
Okay.
It'll find a home in the ground soon.
Gotcha.
Sweet limes.
Sweet
We've got a
limes.
large papaya growing over this giant miracle fruit tree. Giant not for the size of the tree, but actually the cultivar that it is. It
And
makes.
what is this right here?
This is a friend right here. This is a golden orb spider. They hang out around the bananas and do their thing. They're really actually very friendly. I like them very much.
Yeah.
And yeah, this.
Not everybody probably thinks they're friendly.
No, they are though. They're not one of the ones that we worry about, like black widows or things like that.
Oh,
and then
look-
these are papayas.
Look at that fruiting papaya. What
Yeah.
kind of papaya is this?
This is actually a dwarf cultivar known as T.R. Hovey. Very consistent producer.
Okay.
Hermaphroditic, so all of the flowers turn into fruit pretty much.
So that means it does not need two plants
Does
to
not.
make fruit.
Does not. We have males and female types in here, but that just helps with pollination and stuff. But this one doesn't require it at all.
Awesome. And what's this around here? This looks familiar.
Yeah, these are actually just wildflowers. Part of the natural stuff that would grow here in Texas. We leave the ground covers kind of as wild as we can.
And that works. You're like covering the soil here with not only mulch but plants.
Very much so.
And so that's really creating this really natural habitat for
Yes.
this to really produce again, a truly kind of natural rainforest here in the middle of Texas, where you guys get cold here, right?
It does.
Yeah.
It gets cold here. We get occasional freezes, but things survive.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then with the greenhouse effect, the greenhouse is really going to keep the heat, keep the moisture inside here, and allow a lot of these plants. A lot of the plants, like in Arizona, will have the warmth for them, but the humidity is not there, and they don't do as well.
It's true.
We this here is truly, you can see us, we're sweating.
Sweating like crazy.
It's probably, what, 90 degrees, 95 degrees in here?
Early in the morning still.
Yeah, it's like 8:30 in the morning. Probably 80% humidity or something.
Yes.
But these plants are loving it.
Yes, they love it.
What is that right there?
Okay, so this is one of my favorites. This
looks amazing.
This is a sugar apple. So this right here, this is a sugar apple on a seed-grown mother tree. This tree I grew from seed back at our old house.
Okay.
And then moved it out here in a container.
Now, I've been following you on Instagram, like I was saying, for a while. Now, your descriptions of how these fruits taste is just amazing. Please give us a description of a sugar apple.
So it varies from cultivar to cultivar. This one is sort of a mint chocolate.
I like
chip
this.
Ice
This is
cream
cute.
flavor. Yeah,
I want this inside of me.
That one is not. That one's a couple weeks. We might be able to find one that's ready in here somewhere.
Okay.
But the season for them is generally August.
That's good.
Through maybe December.
And what is it today? It's like July 11th.
Kind of funny aftertaste, though.
7-Eleven. This is your grocery store.
Yes, this is the grocery store.
Got gummy worms and mint chocolate chip fruits. And
It's all about the delicious food here. So
now,
here's another one where we should definitely look at this. So
awesome.
Wow. Yeah, this is called a Mona Lisa banana. This cultivar of banana is a hybrid of a silk banana, or an apple, or manzano, some people call them, and a Cavendish cultivar known as Williams.
Okay.
And Williams is a Cavendish cultivar that's known for making exceptionally large fruit, much larger than what most Cavendish make. And as you can see, this one just started flowering and the fruit are already quite big. So yeah, it's got that hybrid vigor. It grows to about maybe 10 feet tall. So it's a decent semi-dwarf cultivar for people's uses. And it's been bred also to be hardy. So it's another one that would probably make it in places like Phoenix or
now, how
other
many
places like that.
bananas are you going to get off this amazing fruit?
So it looks like we're probably, off this one, we're going to get maybe 7 to 10 hands, it's looking like. So this is a pretty good flush. Probably after this next set of flowers that'll open up, it will go into its male flowering phase, which does not produce bananas
now,
past that.
That banana flower has an edible part to it, correct?
Correct. We use them a lot for feeding other plants. Like
really?
I make
you make like a tea out of it?
Yeah, like I make like a tea out of them, and I use it to really give like a good boost to a lot of times to other bananas.
Really?
Yeah,
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, if I want to like encourage a banana to fruit, I'll make a tea out of it. But you can make delicious soups.
Okay.
You can make. There's a lot of Thai cuisine that utilizes the flower bell, what's called the flower bell, which is the end part with the male flowers.
Awesome.
And yeah, they'll cook the whole thing down into basically a soupy broth, and it's good. It's like a sweet sour. It's like a sweet sour thing. Yeah, it's good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, and can you tell us a little bit about how bananas are going to reproduce?
Yeah, sure. That's one of them right here. So they clone themselves.
Okay.
Most bananas do not produce seeds because they have no pollinator that will give them the right type of pollen to produce seeds. They will under the right breeding circumstances if the timing is right, but most of the time they'll be seedless. So what they will do to reproduce is they'll produce what's called a clone of themselves, or a pup. And this is a pup of that cultivar I was telling you about, Mona Lisa. And you'll see they come up right from the rhizome. They'll spread out from the mother plant, and then where the roots touch the air, they kind of just start propagating their own self again.
Now, what are some other plants that do this?
Oh, there's a lot.
Like mint,
Lots of
know.
other grasses, mints, and
Okay.
then also, I mean, here's another.
Coconuts or palms?
Coconuts sometimes do it occasionally, but they usually kind of require the nut to fall on the ground and germinate. You know, things like this that are
dates,
related
palms.
to mint.
What is this?
So this is Cuban oregano.
Oh, wow.
It's delicious.
Oh
and
my God,
it
smells like oregano.
Yeah, it smells fantastic.
I'm assuming this is edible like oregano?
It's very edible.
Oh my God.
It's great. It has like a really good flavor
It's like a sweet spice.
Yes, yeah, it has a great flavor for Mexican food. We use it on tacos and
Heck
things
yeah,
like
this
that
is
all the time.
amazing.
It's incredible.
I might have to get a cutting of this.
Yeah, you should. You should. We'll hook you up. And yeah, it propagates itself extremely easily. Whenever even a piece will throw like a branch down towards the ground, or if you even just bury a piece of branch or rip it off and even just put it in a cup of water, like that'll throw roots in a couple days. It's really easy rooter. It makes its own rooting hormone, so it's a quick rooter. It's what we would call a fast rooter.
And so now, if you had a small garden, you might want to plant something like this in a container, right?
Sure, yeah, because these can really spread a lot. I like them. We use them a ton. So we plant them as ground cover.
Okay.
They keep away ants. We don't spray, so it's really important to plant things like that sort of deter a lot of the bugs and stuff. And they do that, yeah.
Speaking of bugs, what kind of bugs are, I know, this is an ecological space here. So
Yes.
you're kind of, I think you're probably similar to my interpretation of it, is everything kind of has its place. But what are some things that do present problems in this environment for you?
So being in Texas, some of the things that we had issues with first starting everything up, fire ants.
Oh yeah?
Fire ants are
How many times have you been bit by a fire ant?
Oh, more times than I can probably count. But yeah, so fire ants, mosquitoes, of course,
Okay.
because of the tropical nature of everything and the water. You
Yeah,
know?
right. Okay.
But generally, what's cool about this is that there's a lot of predation.
Okay, right.
There's a lot of predators. We don't
relationships.
Yeah, we
You're
don't
not
kill
spraying
stuff.
anything.
So there's a lot of things that will wind up eating the bad bugs.
Like this
And
spider the size of my palm over
Yes, yeah, like the spider protecting these red bananas. There's going to be tons of predation. We got a female and a male right here.
Oh wow, the female
Yeah.
is, looks a little bit larger than
Yeah, a
the male.
little bit larger.
So there's the male, you guys.
Tiny little male.
Okay.
And
Hanging
then
out. And then there's the
very,
real boss.
Yeah, we got the
Is
female.
the female. And then look at that, we got a bee that's just come in to say hi. It's like,
Hey, it
I'm
wants
the
to be on
pollinator.
Yeah, we got a photobombing bee.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, lots of predation, and that is actually what will take down a lot of the pests.
Okay.
You know, I think one of the other things that we've had trouble with is like grasshoppers and things like that. But it's
Right.
never been enough of a problem to ruin a crop.
Yeah, amazing.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, let's take a little break.
Sure.
Go grab some coconut water.
Yeah,
and
we can flip
rehydrate a
on the
little bit.
fans. Yeah.
All right, guys, we kind of went through about 50% of Jason and Lindsay's greenhouse here. Now we're on the other side. It looks like this is probably going to be kind of like the east side here.
Yeah, it is.
And we're going to keep on talking about some different plants,
So
ground
okay,
covers.
here's an interesting one. So this is another rainforest tree, and this is called an inga, ice cream bean.
Okay.
Yeah, and this guy makes pods that look like kind of like a pea.
Okay.
And they taste kind of like ice cream, but they have the texture of like cotton candy, kind of.
Okay.
Kind of,
Wow,
but like
weird.
fibrous.
Weird.
A little bit fibrous, but like has like a
a milk
fluffy,
dud?
Yeah, like a fluffy cotton candy type texture around a seed that's inedible that you spit out.
This is a lemongrass.
That's lemongrass.
And then what
absolutely.
is this beautiful? This looks like a pineapple.
This is purple pineapples. We grow these in the ground cover, and yeah, these guys are a really nice thing to put underneath trees. They usually produce really well, and they're just beautiful too. And they're tasty, better than the average supermarket type.
Awesome.
So
heck yeah.
Here, here's another thing we should check out right over here. We've got move some of this out of the way. We've got a nice little banana patch over here with some red bananas and then also some Brazilian silvers.
Oh wow.
And this guy is in its male phase. As you can tell, none of these flower brackets are making bananas. It is done making bananas.
Okay.
These guys don't get as big as the supermarket varieties. They're usually about 3/4 size when they're done of the supermarket varieties, but they taste a lot better.
Oh yeah.
And the texture's
I
way
can
better.
imagine.
Yes.
And so where's the red Cuban? Is that down here?
That's this. This is the Cuban red. You can always tell it by this dark purple burgundy pseudo stem. And if you actually pull the leaves, if you pull them back, you can really see there's like a lot of dark purple. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, and this is also another Cuban red right here.
All right. Well, let's kind of walk through
We've got
here.
leaches. This through here is actually this tree is called a golden anon.
Okay.
It's a cross between a soursop and a sugar apple.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a natural hybrid of a soursop and a sugar apple. And yeah, the fruit that it produces is really tasty, has a very distinct pineapple flavor to
And
it.
I know the soursop I've read is good. Is actually supposedly better than chemotherapy at treating cancer.
Yeah, it's very anti-cancer. It has a lot of anti-cancer properties. Really anything in the Ananaceae family.
Okay.
So all the sugar apples.
Okay.
All have that same quality. They're related to soursops.
Okay.
Sugar apples are actually called sweet sops in some places. So
Okay.
sweet sop, soursop, get it?
okay. That
You
makes
know?
sense, yeah.
Yeah, the soursop is sort of the more sour of it, and it has more of the anti-cancer properties, which gives it kind of the sour vibe.
Now, is it an antioxidant that does that?
It is. It's there's a lot of different things that have been studied as anti-cancer in it. There's a bunch of different compounds that are all unique to the Ananaceae family. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well,
We
let's
got
keep
some
on
more
walking through.
bananas.
You
So-
are like the banana king. of
Yeah, so
Texas.
this is a big stand of Goldfinger. Yeah, this is Goldfinger, and then
Oh
we
my
got more,
goodness.
tons of pineapples, lots of big pineapples coming
Now,
out.
what kind of pineapple is this one?
This is a same kind as the other. This is purple.
Okay.
Yeah. This is one of the purples that I've propagated, and this is actually a pink flesh jackfruit tree right
Oh
here.
my God. And
Yeah.
jackfruit are really good. They're like these huge giant fruits. that you're not
Largest
gonna-
tree-borne fruit in the world. Yep.
and that's
sometimes they
used-
can be like 100 pounds or more.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And those a lot of times are used to kind of replace meat. Like I've had a
Absolutely.
jackfruit pulled pork sandwich.
Yes,
And if
they're an
nobody told
excellent-
you, you'd never
Yeah.
know.
No, they're an excellent meat replacement. A lot of them taste kind of like juicy fruit gum. It's pretty awesome.
What is this thing?
That is called arrowroot.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a.
I've heard of like arrowroot powder, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's used in cooking a lot. The roots are powdered, and then they're used in cooking in general. They're used as a sweetener and used in cooking like instead of sugar and stuff.
Another ice cream bean?
No, this is called a giant pomelo.
Okay.
Like
the pomelo, like the grapefruit hybrid?
Yes.
Oh, I love those.
No worries. That guy got it on the ground. Yeah, so this is a giant pomelo. This cultivar is from Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And it is known for making just gigantic,
my
huge
God,
fruit
they're
with
so good.
absolutely no bitterness.
Yeah, right.
They're amazing.
Avocado?
Yeah, avocado. There's actually some fruit on this guy. This
Oh,
one we
man.
grew from seed. Yeah, you can see there's fruit growing on this. Yep.
Beautiful.
Yep. And also, okay, so this is an interesting one. So this is called a salac or snake fruit.
Okay.
And it's a type of low growing clustering palm that enjoys shade a lot of times. So we use them at, like underneath things that kind of shade things. They make a fruit that looks like a fig.
Okay.
It's shaped like a fig, but it looks like it's wrapped in snakeskin. Hence snake fruit.
Wow.
And it's crunchy like a carrot,
Okay.
but it tastes kind of like a pineapple.
This is amazing.
Yeah, so
you're
it's really cool.
you're like the creativeness of your descriptions is like some John Lennon quality description there. This is
I'm
like,
glad you enjoy it. Oh, and then of course we've got some mature dragon fruit growing
Oh,
on this
beautiful.
wall. Yeah,
Okay.
this guy pumps out fruit every year. It's awesome.
Okay.
Purple sugar apples, and then a huge banana stand over here. of
what
a
kind of
bunch.
bananas are these? This
So-
is like the sleeping bag size banana leaf. Like,
Yeah.
Look at this.
Oh, and also underneath we've got this is
There's probably a spider on my face right now.
No, there is not. So these are a bunch of different types. So we've got Thousand Fingers,
that is
Blue
huge.
Java, and yeah, these guys are they tower. A lot of times I'll use the greenhouse as sort of an incubating place, And sometimes they'll get so tall that they'll bang into the roof, but a lot of those will be pulled up as fruiting size clones, and we put them outside and then they fruit. So it's all good.
Amazing.
Yeah, and this right here is a Garcinia. This is a relative of purple mangosteen. And this is called a Mexican mangosteen or yellow mangosteen.
Okay.
And it has a similar delicious, like peachy flavor to like how a mangosteen is, but with just that crazy tropical vibe.
Now you've got what I would call like a lot of guilds going on here, right? And so you really pair plants with other plants.
Yeah,
and like you were saying, there's like some trees really create like a nursery. Where I
other
live
stuff, yeah.
in the desert, like the ironwood tree,
Right.
is really kind of a staple for the Sonoran Desert. It allows other trees to be protected from the harsh sun and grow a year or two in order to get to the thing. What are some of the guilds? What are some of the partnerships that you have growing here? I'm assuming this is here for a reason. And you plant pretty mindfully.
Sure, yeah, I do. A lot of times these like to grow when they're young with a little bit of shade.
Okay.
So, and what we do is like we grow a lot of these from seed. So like this guy, I grew this tree from seed. They grow like all other Garcinia. They grow really slowly. Like purple mangosteen sometimes will take over a dozen years to fruit. This guy is not going to take as long as that. That's one of the benefits of the Mexican mangosteen.
Okay.
Is that it grows a little bit quicker, but it definitely falls into the category of when it's young, it likes to have a bit of understory, a little bit of shade from some of the bigger trees. Then it'll grow larger, and as it gets a little older, it really will pick up steam, and it'll eventually be tall like a bunch of these guys.
And so I see here, this is probably, you've been here for, what did you say, 5 years you started this?
Yeah, about so.
Now,
Almost 6.
in some time here, you're going to have to probably get a pretty good ladder to really top some of these guys
Yeah,
so they don't grow out.
No, we do every year. We have to get on the ladders and do some cleaning. We need to get some of that done this year, actually.
Right
But
on.
yeah, and you know, we really like to go into the multi-layer. You know, when you're talking about the guilds and the way that the plants kind of protect each other, you can see, the ground cover here is this is edible. We got Cuban oregano.
Oh my God.
We've got, and then of course, you know, we like to pair. We love dragon fruit. Dragon fruit is a great pairing for a lot of stuff because since it's an epiphyte, it doesn't really like take a lot of food from the ground.
What's an epiphyte?
It has aerial roots.
Right.
It means that it climbs things with aerial roots, and it will actually pull a lot of its. You can actually see some of these aerial roots right here.
Right.
Yeah, these guys will pull nutrients from the air, literally from the moisture in the air, and from a lot of the humidity that builds up from some of these larger trees.
Okay.
It will use that as one of its primary food sources and water sources. So it's not some wind.
And if you've ever had like a pitaya bowl, that's your dragon fruit.
Yeah.
You know, that is what is the fruit of these guys.
Yeah.
And the cool thing, the reason they call them dragon fruit, if you haven't seen one, is they literally have like this kind of scaled, spiky.
It kind of look like a fireball from Mario or something.
Or like a dragon egg.
Dragon egg, sure, yeah.
It's like this. I mean, I don't know if.
And then on the inside, kind of like a alien kiwi or something.
Totally. And
Yeah.
like they come in. I mean, how many different varietals do you have here?
Oh God! In our greenhouse, I think we're working on probably like a couple dozen cultivars of dragon fruit. They're all over. They're hidden all over the place, and sometimes we even use them to climb trees. So
Right on.
yeah, and we got some papaya popping.
Oh wow.
Yeah, just chilling right here, just not really needing much.
Right.
Hanging out by the bananas.
Amazing.
This is actually one of my favorite species of fruit tree.
Okay.
This is called a capel.
Okay.
Capel is a really interesting tropical fruit tree. It's native to Java, and it has some very interesting properties. So the fruit is kind of tastes like a cinnamon spiced mango, but it has some interesting properties. See, when you eat the fruit, it actually works as an internal deodorant. So it makes your sweat smell like violets, makes your urine smell like violets.
And your poop, right?
And your poop as well. So
this will make people say like it smells like roses. Like, oh no, I don't poop or whatever.
Yeah,
it smells like roses.
If somebody says their shit doesn't stink and they're eating Capel, they might not be lying. Also, another interesting fact about this species is that it was used by sultans in Java and still is today actually for birth control, natural contraceptive. For about a day after eating the fruit, women cannot get pregnant. So in their country, since it's native there,
watch out, Big Pharma.
Yeah,
we're coming for you.
So since a lot of times like they didn't have that back in the day, they would use this as a natural birth control, basically, when they didn't want their harem to get pregnant, basically. So yeah, but it has that interesting effect.
So got a harem.
Yeah.
Don't want to use birth control. Grow Capella in orchard style.
Yep.
And it'll take care. And what does the fruit look like?
It looks like a little bit like a pear almost.
Okay.
Like a pear. It grows right off the trunk of the tree. It's actually related to sugar apples and distantly related to sugar apples and soursops and stuff. So this also falls in the category of an anon. It has some anti-cancer properties as well. Really, really incredible species.
Awesome.
Yep.
Let's kind of keep on walking here.
Yeah.
We are sweating. It's getting a little bit later in the morning here.
Yes.
It's definitely warm. We've got quite a bit more to kind of talk about and show you guys. So we've got
it's really wild back here.
Okay. And then what is that? Is that a?
So this is sugar apples.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, we've got this right here too is pretty interesting. So this guy right here, obviously you see the huge moringa, but this is called white turmeric.
One of my favorite.
Yeah,
oh my
it's
gosh.
great. Or mango turmeric. It's a good one. I like it a lot. Yeah, we got more bananas and then another Capel tree right here.
Okay.
Yeah, this is an older one. Love that. And then if you come right through here, you're actually gonna see a really nice display of this.
Oh my gosh. And this is a 1,000 fingers banana.
Yeah, this is 1,000 fingers.
Now, how long will this guy get?
So this one is off kind of a younger clone that I pulled. I will probably cut off the bell of this one and restrict its size by a little bit. But this cultivar can actually throw racks that are like 10 feet, 8 to 10 feet. And they will literally sometimes throw them from the ceiling and they will go all the way down. Oh, actually, look, there's a blue java flowering right there that I didn't even notice. Right through there. So that's really neat. And then there's another example you can see up overhead of some 1,000 fingers there. Very high up, and then...
Oh, wow. And so how do you harvest those? Just a ladder and a machete?
Yeah, well, actually, these guys are from a very old patch. So you see the trunk size on this is massive.
So just cut it down?
So what I'll do is I will let this literally grow until the flower bell hits the ground on this one.
Wow.
So that one will probably wind up breaking my record of the length for longest.
Which you've had like an 8-footer, right?
Yeah, we've had about 8.5 foot was our last year's record. But yeah, this guy right here, as the season goes on, will literally reach down and its bell will hit the ground before we harvest it, probably.
That is crazy.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Love it very much.
Nice.
Yeah, this cultivar is a favorite for sure. It's very fun.
Well, more pineapples, more bananas.
Yes.
This is
mangoes.
Like grow your own smoothie with Foxotron
Yeah,
here.
pretty much.
And then you guys obviously eat a lot of this stuff, right?
Yeah, we eat all of it.
And then so with the bananas and stuff, how long do those keep? Do you freeze them or?
Yeah. Whenever we get to a point where, we have too many, which happens occasionally.
Okay.
We like to just throw them in the freezer and then make what's called an ice cream.
Oh, nice.
Well, yeah, which is just, basically a frozen
Almond
banana
milk or
is
coconut milk.
It is ice cream on its own.
No, right.
Yeah, and you can kind of add a couple things to it and whatever you like, really.
I see a Lindsay coming through here. Well, again, you can kind of see we've been sweating. We've been kind of taking breaks and turning the fans on in here. Usually this place does have the fans running.
Yes.
But the thing
during
is,
the summertime especially.
We can't get audio with the fans on. So we are going to kind of take a look at the rest of the property here. All right. You've seen the greenhouse. Now, Jason, where are we at?
This is the orchard. This is the regular old permaculture orchard. This is a no-till, 100% hand-done pretty much orchard that I planted out myself. We've got all sorts of fruit trees here. We have pluots. That's what we're snacking on right now. Pluots, if you don't know, are an interspecific cross of a plum and an apricot. A pluot leans towards the plum side, whereas an aprium, which you might have heard of, and which we also grow here, leans toward the apricot side. So, and they're delicious.
Now, you said this is a permaculture style orchard.
Yes.
Could you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we don't till
Okay.
anything. We don't use tractors. Everything was planted by hand. And most importantly, what I consider it to be permaculture because of was because the things that we chose to focus on year after year get bigger, produce more fruit, and that's what it's geared towards. And all of the ground cover is naturalized. We don't do grass. We don't do things that require a lot of water in between the trees so that we can focus on things like drip irrigation when we do need to water things, which is rare, but we usually will use rainwater, which also helps with the sustainability of this and the permanent sustainability, which is really what permaculture is about, is creating a space where things will permanently thrive and produce better year after year. And that's really the idea behind this orchard.
So now, a lot of it's the middle of July in Austin. It's been like 100+ degrees.
Oh,
So
yeah, for
a lot
weeks.
of the stuff is it's not springtime anymore, so you can kind of see it's a little more brown than it would be in like April.
Yes.
But there's a lot of wildflowers, a lot of wild grasses.
Definitely.
And you know, beyond attracting pollinators, what that's also going to do is really cover the soil naturally and create some permanence. So
Absolutely.
all these flowers, you don't have to replant them every year, right? So
No, they reseed. And they're all of the flowers that we use. So the spots that have been mowed down are actually different beneficial species that have been chosen to improve the ground.
What
Like
are-
for
what are
example,
some of those species?
yeah, for example, bluebonnets are done right now. They're finished for the year. But they're a nitrogen fixer. They're beautiful. They make incredible flowers. If anyone's ever seen bluebonnet patches, they're great. But they're the ones that have turned into this brown stuff now. We do that so that we let them get basically kind of how this is, where it looks dead, but that's the most important phase
That's a seed.
of the wildflower because that's the seed pod. And that just created hundreds of seeds of these pinwheels, for example, which will reseed and really just fill in all these spaces. And during springtime, the whole orchard in between the trees, it's really beautiful because it's just rolling colors. And it'll kind of transition throughout the year. Earlier in the year, it's the blue for the blue bonnets. And then as it heats up, you'll see like the yellows and the reds, and it kind of like warms up with the colors the same way that the temperature does.
Now, another thing about permaculture is there's kind of different zones here. And one thing that you really mentioned was if you kind of look around here, you've got all these large native oak trees that really kind of protect this.
Yes,
So,
and pecans as well. You know, we built some hugelkultur piles over on the far end, planted some pecans.
and could you explain what hugelkultur is? So
Oh yeah,
someone that doesn't
absolutely.
know?
Yeah, absolutely. Hugelkultur is it's the practice of taking a bunch of like woody material and downed logs, various different things that we came across when we were clearing land and trimming some of these old oak trees that are like a couple hundred years old. And we would throw it into a shredder or sometimes even just put the raw logs at the bottom of a hugelkultur pile. And then you basically make a giant pile with enough biomass for it to cook and actually make like a huge pile of really deep soil. And then eventually you can plant stuff like a pecan in it and it thrives. You see that huge pecan over there. It's
And
Giant.
one thing about the hugelkultur, so you know, you dig this trench, you put all this woody material in it, you cover it. Now what's going to happen is that wood over time is going to passively break down from the microbiology in the soil.
Exactly.
And literally feed your plants. It's also going to keep water absorbed.
yes. We never have to water things in the hugelkultur pile.
And these are things that, like, you know, and another thing too is you're using materials that you had on site, which
Exactly.
is phenomenal. We're not
Exactly.
going to a big box store,
Nope.
purchasing mulch. You know, you got mulch all over here, and it's
Exactly.
It's really a natural system that creates, you know, it works. It makes
does.
sense.
It really does.
And so, you know, those kinds of techniques are really permaculture based, and that's where I learned them, and that's really, you know, what I personally focus on, why I wanted to visit you so much, to show
Absolutely.
what is possible.
Definitely.
You know, and this was nothing when you got here. It was just
No, this was a completely raw piece of land with nothing in it. It was an abandoned cut flower farm, so they had literally just left it fallow, and it was empty when we started. Yeah, the other thing I should mention too that I didn't before about the hugelkultur pile is one of my favorite things to do with the hugelkultur pile, because of the large amount of woody material, is to actually inoculate it with edible mushrooms.
Oh, beautiful! Like an oyster or a king stropharia.
It's key. Yeah.
Oh, man.
It really helps. It helps break down the biomass quicker. It really purifies the water, purifies the soil, and the resulting product, the resulting earth that it creates is just incredibly nutrient dense.
And you get mushrooms.
Yeah, and you get edible mushrooms. You get edible mushrooms.
Love mushrooms.
Some of our favorites are like oysters. Yeah, the kings.
Oh, those are great.
They're great.
And those are like a perennial too. Another thing that I would like to say is just a little knowledge piece is, when you're breaking down material, if you've got like a leafy material or a plant matter, that's usually going to be broken down by a bacteria, whereas the woody material is going to be usually broken down by a fungus. So when you're making your compost, one thing I like to do is have like a super heavy fungal compost that's made from woody material, and that's what's going to happen in nature. Those branches at some point or another are going to break, fall down.
Definitely.
And fungus is going to eat that. Now, it's also going to create a leaf material that's going to have bacterial, and that's kind of where some of the more annual understory crops come up. So
absolutely.
Just something to think about. Now, it looks like you got some grapes here.
Yeah, we do. We grow some grapes. We have some grapes enter between all the trees, and yeah, we just recently planted these, but the hope is to eventually have a lot of nice table grapes and also some wine grapes. There's a couple wine grapes.
Yeah, we like wine.
Spattered through, but mostly table grapes.
Now, it looks like most of the fruit trees here to me look like a lot of stone fruits.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff in this orchard is stone fruits. So we've got multigraph peaches over here. Each one of these branches actually is going to be a different type of peaches. This is a great way if you have limited space, which we don't, but it's still a fun trick to do so that you can get off the same tree a much longer season. You prolong like your harvest window because this branch is gonna produce a different type of peach that's gonna ripen at a different time. Same with this. It's really like how it is with this whole row of multi-graph trees.
And so they ripen in succession, so you might have one that's ready in beginning of May,
exactly,
and then one in June. And
exactly.
So it really gives you the opportunity to have fresh peaches for a longer period
all
of time.
year round. But yeah, it's not just stone fruit. Some of the first things we actually planted, one of the first rows of trees, and one of my favorite types of trees actually for subtropical agriculture, is these guys called fioas. They're pineapple guavas, also known as pineapple guavas, and you can see there's tons of them loading this tree. So this tree, the flavor of it is like really incredible. It's really close.
Give us your description.
So it's like,
you got one.
yeah. So it really is like the name would imply. It's like really right down the middle between like a guava and a pineapple.
Okay.
And it's just got kind of a really sweet, but also like has a tiny tart kick at the end.
Okay.
And they're excellent for jams, but really good. This tree in particular is really good for eating out of hand. This is a seedling tree, and this cultivar I call jelly bean because it really tastes like jelly beans.
Oh my God,
it's great.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to come back in what, like 2-3 months?
Yeah, this one like in a
Fall.
couple of months. Yeah, in fall.
Yeah.
We'll have some good harvests off this guy.
Also, we've seen some pomegranates over there. We've got, show us around here.
Yeah, so okay, obviously we've got our pluot trees. This is a whole row of pluot trees of different types. We've got cherries. So this is gonna be Flavor King pluot.
Okay.
We've got apples. This is an apple
beautiful.
tree. This is a nice apple tree.
That is
We
nice.
we have to kind of focus on low chill varieties here,
Right.
because we rarely get enough cold for it to really give us a good production of apples, unless it's a low chill type, like a gala or something.
And what that means is that the tree needs a certain time of dormancy
Yeah.
with
a certain amount of hours under a certain temperature.
Exactly. There
About
you go.
45 degrees is typically thought of as the chill point. Anything below that, and you're getting your chill hours.
Now,
some trees require more, like some of the more cold hardy types of plums and stuff need like 700, 800 or more chill hours. We usually don't focus on those. We usually focus on things like nectarplums or pluots.
Nectarplums.
Yeah.
I love that. That sounds like it'd be like a good album name.
It's a nectarine and a plum cross, and they're fantastic.
Amazing. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit here. You said you've been here 5 years.
Yeah.
And at first, you started watering these all by hand, this whole space, right?
Yeah, we did. So at first, when we planted all of this stuff, we used to, me and a couple of friends would just get out buckets and we would fill them up at the rain tanks.
bucket brigade.
before we actually had a pump and had any of that set up. We would just come in and water them as needed and just wait until they needed it and then give it to them then. And that was our way of both conserving water and also getting this stuff established before we had time to dig the trenches and stuff for the real irrigation lines.
And a couple things on that. Now, we were earlier talking about kind of dry farming. And how when you almost, too much water to anything, in my experience, almost causes more problems, because that's when you go anaerobic and you make room for things like rots and molds and bad anaerobic type of microbiology.
Yes.
So what the dry farming does is really kind of makes those roots seek out the water, and it breaks up that hard soil. One more thing about water here. We're in Texas. This is not the wettest place in the world. You've got a rainforest back there. Where is your water coming from?
So our water primarily now comes from rainwater capture.
Let's go check 'em out.
we put in some tanks. They're actually pretty large, and they capture the rain that falls onto the roofs here. We get about, on average, we get anywhere between about 30 and 40 inches of rain. Sometimes it can go to like 60 inches of rain a year. On years like that, we'll get hundreds of thousands of gallons of free irrigation.
And it's a better water.
It's much better.
Coming from, I mean, obviously city water can have some issues with different kind of chemicals in there to sanitize them.
And it's always devoid of that, that's for sure. And it also, it contains things that city water just doesn't. There's certain forms of iron that are very bioavailable to plants that are in rainwater that are just essential. Like, they're much better than what you would get out of tap, which has been stripped of all of those micronutrients.
Also, I mean, our atmosphere is what, 70% nitrogen, correct?
Correct.
And that atmospheric nitrogen, that carries through to that rainwater,
yeah,
doesn't
absolutely.
it?
Yes, it does.
So it's basically like a liquid fertilizer without, just your water.
Yeah.
Now, let's go stand next to these tanks here.
Yeah, they're
I
massive.
want to show the size.
Yeah,
of
let's show the scale of this, because it's definitely important to see how big these guys are. This is where we capture, and we get a lot of water for free. So that gives you some idea, as you can see. It's really, and that's just, that's not a pump. That's just the gravity from this thing being full from us having a rain a couple weeks ago.
And so basically, if we look over here, you can see that this is probably your main tank, and this is kind of the backup. Or this is the main, that's the backup?
So, this is where it will flow into.
Okay.
They're both connected, actually, down low.
Okay.
But yeah, they're connected to each other. So when this one starts to fill up, they both fill up, really. But this is plumbed off of the roof of the house.
Okay. So
and off of the roof of the greenhouse as well. And so essentially what has to happen, though, is you have to make sure that the gutter for that is higher
than the top of this.
that.
Okay, right.
And as long as that happens, then you get that good flow every time that it rains, and it will just flood into these and give you hundreds and hundreds of thousands of gallons of free water in a year.
When is your biggest rain season?
So it really depends. Here in Texas, it's really like drought and flood, and that's why this is essential, because
this is like your
safety. This gets us through the dry times very well, and it really makes it to where during the times when we have drought, we don't suffer in the same way as some farmers do. And yeah, it's great.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. No worries.
ADD
No worries.
over here. Well, you know, I can't tell you how much that, one, it's just phenomenal to meet you, man. Like, again,
same.
like this guy,
Mutual.
we have been
Mutual, buddy.
like BFFs on Instagram
Yeah.
for the past few years, and I'm just like, you know, we're hitting each other back on the DMs, like, oh, that looks amazing. What are you doing there? And just sharing information.
Definitely.
And I'm personally just humbled and honored to be out here at your property, at
Same,
your
Tony.
home.
Same,
and you know, I got to tell you, you're doing it right, bro.
Thank you.
This is in my mind how things should happen. You know, you're harvesting the rainwater. You've got the cover crops. You got the naturalness here too. You know, this might look a little unkept to some, but this is what we need as far as like a permaculture style farm.
Yeah, and it's weird because it's like, yeah, there's some stuff that we do. We let the wildflowers go completely dead so that the seed is preserved, and that's how we keep it going and keep it reseeding without having to buy new seeds and stuff. And also you'll see, I mean, if you look closely, there's order to the chaos. Like there's grapevines around all of the oak trees. There's food growing hidden pretty
Everywhere.
much everywhere.
Oh, and I didn't mean to say anything negative about being unkept. I think that the natural,
Oh no, it's supposed to be wild, yeah.
the natural systems are what really permaculture is about. And so we're constantly, you're building soil here.
Yes.
You've got an ecological garden. You've got bald eagles, you've got foxes, you've got all kinds of different wild insects, lizards, spiders that all work in unison and really keep your problems as far as pests to a minimal. So this is a really good example of, in my opinion, how you can take a property and literally turn it into your own grocery store and thrive. And you know, and this is a big part of it, guys. This rainwater harvesting, especially for us in the Southwest. We all hear about the droughts and the availability of water. It's incredibly important for us to be mindful of these things and not be drawing. You know, what you're doing here is you're putting back.
Yes.
And that, I think sustainable is not really always the best word. I think what we really need to be focusing on is thriving and having abundance and having, you know, nature is abundant. One flower head is going to have maybe 50,000 seeds.
Correct.
Now, there is no shortage of seeds. There's no shortage of flowers.
No, sir.
That's kind of a hoax in my mind.
It is.
Like there's not enough food.
Yeah. There's definitely a myth that needs to be unraveled when it comes to abundance. Nature does provide, even when it comes down to things like dry farming, where you're not really putting too much into it, except when the plant really needs it. You're giving it that moment of stress where it will dig and it will find the ground table water. And also, we don't like to really use well water. We don't really like to use...
Keep that in the ground.
Yeah, we like to keep that in the ground and actually replenish it with this through slowly releasing it over the year and really having like a good forest situation that actually creates a lot of rain. We get more...
a hydrologic cycle.
Yeah, we get more rain now than we did when we first set up the rainforest, for example. A couple years after we set up the rainforest, we actually got 66 inches of rain, which is double what our annual is. And that has a lot to do with the fact that this was barren and now it's a forest.
So even though he is growing things that might grow in the Amazon forest, you know, in Peru or Colombia, or in these areas that get hundreds of inches of rain a year, you're not really using that much water. You're actually putting water back in the ground.
Absolutely.
You, sir, are a champion. And
Thanks, man.
I really appreciate your time, your hospitality, showing us around Austin, your beautiful property. Lindsay, your wife, is amazing.
She is. She's the best.
I just can't tell you how grateful I am to be here and share this time and space and food with you. And
Thanks, man. The feeling's mutual.
I'm literally getting goosebumps. I'm grateful.
Awesome.
Guys, farm tripping outside of Austin, Texas, 2017. Jason Fox, Lindsay Fox on Instagram, Foxatron. Backyard paradise. These guys are doing it. This is real life. You can do this in your backyard. Let's change the world. Let's do some shit. Come on.
Yeah.
Have a good one, guys.
Have a great one.
Hello, hello. Okay, for some reason, this is just coming out of one side. Let me fix something real quick. Okay. Think got the audio set up right now. Was having some technical difficulties earlier. Think we got them ironed out though. So I am going to go change the stream title and switch over to music real quick. I'll be back in just a second. Okay, I'm doing one more audio test real quick. Okay, sweet. Okay, we got everything fixed. Okay, I'm gonna put it back on the one that we're working on. We'll finish this one up today for sure. Already towards the end of it. Okay, there we go. Hello? Okay, there we go. Okay. All right, be right back. Okay. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go into the drums real quick and fix a couple of things that I wanna switch out. There were a couple of the fills that I want to change out for other takes that we have. So let's do this. I got my coffee. This grouping here, and let's AB out some different patterns. Okay. Also, 1 second, I'm gonna make sure my guitar over there is muted. something right here because we changed out that other part. Other part fits great though. Okay, so now let's AB out a couple of these outro fills. Okay, we're going to create a new one. That'll slip this right in here. And then we're going to go in and choose what we want. Let's see. Maybe this one. Let's see. Okay, and then we're going to go right to the end too, so we can hear right away and figure out what we're going to put here. Twice there. Okay, let's see. Let's AB out a couple other different options. let's go back a little further and try one thing real quick. Okay, I'm gonna grab my guitar real quick. Okay, let's test this ending part real quick, and then we'll lay down some final guitar tracks and stuff. Okay. Okay, I'm going to tune the guitar up, and then we will lay this down. Okay, cool. Got this tuned up. I'm going to just use the restroom real quick, and then I will record this guitar, this final guitar. Let's set up the tracks for it, though. Okay, let's do, not 32. There we go, 3. And there we go. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello. I just realized I need to turn off this thing. There we go. Better. Holy time dilation. Excuse me. Okay, be back in a flash. Apparently one of my cameras is freaking out. Hold on, I'm gonna fix this right now. Okay, the camera is still not on. What is going on here?